in your community tonight. So it's great to be here. Last night we were in Perry County and we had a crowd roughly the same size. People are really enthusiastic about this, and they have strong views and they want to talk about it. And that's what we're here to facilitate. But you know what? This is my job. I should be here. You chose to be here, and I'm so grateful for that. You could be home fixing dinner, you could be out taking the dog for a walk, you could be helping your child do their homework, well, you name it. But you came here because you care about this issue. So thank you for that. Now, another thing, this is our 26th stop. It's 26th county. And one of the things that has really remained consistent is civility and openness to those that you may not agree with on an issue. You could be sitting next to somebody that feels very passionate about this issue pro, or you could somebody that feels very strongly against it. And I think in American politics today, we should spend more time around those that we might disagree with and hear about the other side. And I've never had to insist on civility, but I would just ask and remind you that if you hear something from one of our speakers that you really like or agree with, feel free to applaud and show your approval. But if you hear something that doesn't necessarily jive with your views, please, no booing, no jeering, no We want to create an environment where everyone feels secure to share their views freely without any kind of fear of being judged or made to feel uncomfortable. And let me just say, you've got 3 options tonight. You can, of course, join at the microphone and speak, or we have comment cards that have been passed out. The boxes in the back of the room, they're in the chair. And then the other option is you can fill in the online form too. And so far, about 25,000 of your fellow Pennsylvanians have done just that. We collect and analyze every card, whether it's online or in person, because this is a critical issue. And finally, the last, you're of course free to leave at any time, but at the end of the evening, I'm going to ask a series of 3 questions. And it's going to be, all those in favor, aye, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. All those undecided. Because we're here to document that. Because this is a completely transparent process. There are no right answers or no wrong answers. So if somebody asks 6 months from now, what was it like in Mifflin County? Where was the room? People will be able to click on the video online and be able to see for themselves. You have the ultimate democratic opportunity to represent your views in a way that visually everybody can see. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. And I'm also honored to be joined by one of your commissioners tonight. Would you like to?
I'd like to thank all of you for coming out. It's nice that people want to come and weigh in on this issue, and I want to thank Lieutenant Governor for including us, including all counties across Pennsylvania. He could have chosen to do the traditional, I'll do Harrisburg, I'll do Erie, I'll do Philadelphia, I'll do Pittsburgh, but he's letting every county weigh in on this issue, and I applaud him for that. And thank you all for coming tonight.
Well, with that introduction, let's get started. Please come up to the 2 microphones, and we'll just go back and forth. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is James Latier. I'm a resident of Belleville, and I'm a resident of Mifflin County for 9 years. I appreciate the opportunity to voice my opinions in my presentation this evening, and I'd like to preface my comments by stating that my presentation will be based on objective scientific study, experience of being around people who habitually smoke marijuana, and my personal opinions. So I'll start first with the American Lung Association, who indicates the health effects of marijuana are determined in large part by how it's consumed. Mainly it's smoke, but it also can be consumed through placing it in candy, brownies, capsules, or beverages. Carcinogens are released from marijuana combustion. Smoke from marijuana has been shown to contain many of the same toxins, irritants, and carcinogens as tobacco. It damages the lung, causing chronic bronchitis over long periods of use, and also including the cell linings of the large airways. Now, the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Institute, through the University of Washington, indicates that marijuana contains a significant amount of more carcinogens compared to the quantity of unfiltered smoked tobacco. The American Cancer Society says marijuana is defined by the United States Drug Enforcement Administration as a Schedule I controlled substance. So what this means is that if the states legalize the recreational use of marijuana, technically it's still illegal under the federal law. And the Attorney General of the United States, if he or she wishes, can stop that activity in a state. Marijuana smoking and use lowers the user's control over movement, causes disorientation and sometimes unpleasant thoughts and feelings of anxiety and paranoia. It also decreases motivation. The most compelling argument that I've researched was from an article in February of 2019 from Hillsdale College entitled, "Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness and Violence Through Hillsdale College." The author is Alex Bernson, and it states, "Some governments have argued that legalized recreational use of marijuana is a low-risk way to raise tax revenue, reduce crime. However, that comes at a greater cost to the individual user in society. Top medical journals, through scientific research, show marijuana use can cause or worsen severe mental illness, especially psychosis. That means a break from reality."
Sir, it's safe to assume that you're a strong con, right?
Pardon?
You're strongly against legalizing marijuana.
Yeah, can I finish?
So, yeah, I just asked that we limit our comments around 90 seconds.
Okay, so I just am not in favor of this. Also, in today's Lewistown Sentinel, there was an article about marijuana and emergency room visits, climbs in Denver hospitals, and you know, the governor says that he's trying to fight the opioid crisis, and he says that's a Schedule I drug, and he wants to take the necessary steps and actions to protect the health safety of Pennsylvanians, and by legalizing marijuana, he's doing a total contrary thing. So I'll stop my comments, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. You have the floor.
First off, I'd like to say, Mr. Fetterman, thank you very much for stopping in and talking to us. My name is Kevin Carroll. I live in Mifflin County. I've been here for over 25 years. I moved here from the state of Texas. And I'd have to say, I'm strongly for it for the simple reason I have seen the medical uses from it. And as a member of Normal myself for 24 years, one of the people that's fighting to get it legal on the medicinal side, then I'm all for it. But the main thing I look at is if we package it up and we sell it just like we do cigarettes every day, we'll get the whole country out of debt, but 4 or 5 years ago. It's number one. But number two, as an avid smoker myself, and I'm somebody that I go to work every day. I don't miss a day. I'm a certified workaholic. And I don't miss a day. But I would rather run into somebody driving down the road that's smoking a joint than somebody drinking a beer. And I would rather go out on the street and run into somebody smoking a pipe than I would somebody doing some other type of drug. Because somebody smoking a joint, run into them, what they gonna do? They're gonna stand there and laugh at you. You know, so for me, I got to say I'm all for it, and the gentleman took up a little bit of time, so I'm just going to cut mine at that, but thank you very much for coming to see us, sir, here in our opinions.
Hello. We're here to talk today about prohibition. I don't see very many people for the prohibition of alcohol anymore today, even though alcohol is considered to be a harder drug than marijuana is. We have more deaths annually from overdosing on alcohol, from drunk driving and everything. But we do not have a call to make alcohol illegal. But what we do understand is that the prohibition of alcohol did not work because of the negative repercussions of prohibition. We had an increase of violence due to the black market that the prohibition of alcohol created. We still had a usage of alcohol when it was illegal. Many of the same things still pertain to the prohibition of marijuana. People still use it, regardless of it's legal or illegal. And the creation of this black market has created violence. People have to go to a drug dealer that they may or may not know and into a sketchy situation. They're going to use it regardless if it's legal or not. There are 0 deaths this year, last year, the last decade that can be linked to marijuana specifically. Nowhere near as harmful as alcohol. Yet we are not calling today for alcohol to be made illegal.
Okay.
So my point is, with a prohibition standpoint, we need to look at the individual liberty to make the choice whether to consume or not, and to compare the health benefits of alcohol and marijuana. And it's clearly on one side.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, you have the floor. I'm sorry for the confusion.
My name is Michelle, and I am all for the legalization of marijuana. I feel there's so many more positives to the legalization. I have a hard time with the alcohol. Alcohol is definitely more deadly, but yet it's legal. And then you have marijuana. Like he said, no one has ever overdosed from marijuana. No one will ever overdose from marijuana. I also believe that it will make a more peaceful world. There's a lot of violence and stuff from the alcohol and the harder drugs. And I have a hard time it being in the same category as heroin. It's a Schedule I drug. It's not even close to heroin. I just believe it's the safest thing out there. You know, when you do smoke marijuana, you're not going out and getting into trouble. You're just calm. You want to sit at home and watch TV. It's never going to get you, I'm going to say, make you violent or any of the above. And I'm just all for it to be legalized. And I think those that don't, of the older generation, have to educate themselves more. And maybe they'll understand where us that do want it legalized, maybe they'll come to realize that what we're saying is the truth. So I'm just all for it, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Michelle, and I am for the legalization of recreational marijuana. And I think when it's important to come to changing a law, you have to look at the history of why it was illegal in the first place, why it was banned. And the whole thing goes back to, of course, Schedule I substance control. Back in the 1970s during Nixon, it was already proven that the war on drugs had no effect whatsoever. It was already proven by his counsel that the war on drugs was meant to segregate communities. And to this day, we have 53% of people arrested for marijuana. That's almost 5.8 million people for nonviolent crimes, and most of them are not even drug pins. It hasn't concluded anything for us. The medical effects of marijuana outlive any of the other effects, including that of alcohol. I mean, that's going to be the common thing you're going to see is marijuana compared to alcohol. We have our moonshiners, you know, now we have our potheads. So, it's all good. Right? We're not here to make a profit off of people going to prison. People are not people in a jail, private corporatized prisons, and they're in the money, and their lives are being wasted and ruined by something that there's no evidence that's even harmful. So thank you so much for coming and hearing us out. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Fetterman, for being here. Appreciate it. In the United States, or in any culture that aims to value individual freedom, I believe that a system of justice should rely on two fundamental ideals. The first is a collective morality. This means that our laws will be built on something that approximates a consensus or a general agreement. In the U.S., support for the decriminalization or legalization of recreational marijuana is higher than ever. Marijuana laws that may have once rested on a strong consensus no longer correlate to a general agreement among the citizens. A recent Gallup poll showed that national support for recreational marijuana is now at 66%, or 2/3 of all Americans. I understand that there are many people who have negative views of marijuana, and those shouldn't simply be ignored. But if there isn't a consensus, or even a majority of the population that supports the continued criminalization of marijuana, our laws should be changed to uphold personal liberty and individual freedom. Secondarily, our legal system should be based on the very best information we have at our disposal. Our current laws are based on a system of schedules or categories that classify marijuana in the same group as heroin, and state that it is more addictive, more dangerous, and less medically useful than cocaine, methamphetamine, oxycodone, fentanyl, Adderall, and many other addictive and dangerous drugs. The problem with this system of schedules is that it has not been realigned with newer and more scientifically accurate information. Professional academic research continues to show that marijuana is less dangerous and more medically useful than we once thought. This system of schedules also allows for the wide distribution of substances known to be more dangerous and more addictive, such as tobacco or alcohol. So we allow for personal liberty and free choice when it comes to the sale of cigarettes, which has been for over 50 years repeatedly proven to cause deadly diseases. We allow for the wide distribution of alcohol, despite the fact that roughly 40% of all violent crimes are related to alcohol. That's 3 million violent crimes per year. But marijuana is still considered too dangerous and too addictive and not medically useful enough to allow for personal liberty. Our current law fails to line up with those two fundamental principles. There is no broad consensus or general agreement among the population of this country or this state that supports the continued criminalization of marijuana. In addition, the marijuana laws that are currently on the books have not been updated with the most recent and best information that we have available to us. I'd ask that you would take these ideas under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Knapp. I'm 68. I lived here all my life, and I did, both marijuana and alcohol. I'm assuming that the state is looking into this for a reason. I guess it's for money, and we can't put money above people's lives and futures. I don't see any little kids in here, but see, in my mind, that's where it's at. Because no matter if you say you're going to control this stuff, it'll always be available, always, and it'll be who has the best, who has the strongest. How do you regulate that? We got some first responders here, the police. They're the ones, you set the laws, and they're the ones that have the responsibility going out there and try to enforce it. I wouldn't want that job. My suggestion would be to tell Governor Wolf to stay firm, have a strong backbone, don't stand for something, don't fall for anything. My belief is, if God wanted us, number one, to drink, we'd have a steel plug in our side. If He wanted to smoke, there'd be a smoke pipe on our heads. Like I did it both ways. So, from my perception is, I have a clean mind now. I used to do that stuff, and then I'm going to go a little spiritual here, but I was explained the word of salvation to me. I asked the Holy Spirit in my life, and I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it, that I'd be driving down the road, and I'd be rubbing my eyes, and it's crystal clear. I had to pay good money for this high. I got it now. See what I'm saying? But nobody wants to go that way, so we're going to have to deal with this problem. Decades ago was the alcohol, worst drug. Well, you'll never regulate that. Now we're trying, you got an opioid problem that you can't, it's full blast. And now you want to open this can of worms. I think it's definitely not a good idea. Kids will find it. Adults, if you know, I can understand if they want to have a little bit at home, and that's their problem. But I'm not. I think we're over the hill, and I think we have to think of the future. So, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, sir, you have the floor.
My name is Mike. My main questions are: this is all going to fall kind of like he said into the law enforcement side of it. There's no true way of doing an intoxication test on them, like blood alcohol or anything. So it's going to create issues with the policing. It's going to create issues amongst your workplace because it's still illegal under OSHA and MSHA laws. It's still illegal to buy a gun or own a gun and do marijuana. Question 11E on the 4473 states that the federal government doesn't recognize medicinal or recreational. So we're opening a can of worms, and we've already seen that there's gun grabbing going on at the same time. I just think this is all coming out as a revenue thing and a gun grab. I'm not for or against, but I just think that this is all under a guise of gun grabbing.
Well, wait, sir, to clarify, you're in the middle. You don't have an opinion either way.
Nope, I really don't care either way. I've seen the medicinal work, and I've seen the recreational actually ruin people's lives. But I just think it's like opiates or alcohol. It's the person doing it that's going to wreck their life or make it good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir?
My name's Sam Getz. I didn't come here tonight prepared to say anything, but I do take exception to the lady that spoke a while ago that says the older generation needs to educate themselves. We're the generation that lived through the 50s, 60s, and 70s when, you know, marijuana was just touted. You know, the hippies were smoking and everybody wanted to smoke it, but all the professionals were calling it a gateway drug, a gateway drug, a gateway drug. And look at the drug problems we have today. You can't control anything. You can't control alcohol. You can't control pain medication. I took pain medication for years, so I took it away from me because people were abusing it. I mean, they're going to abuse it. They're going to abuse it. And tonight, there's a misconception that we're doing that medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana are the same thing. The medical marijuana is already passed, am I not mistaken? Is that already a go? It's just recreational. This younger generation has to feel good all the time. They get their feelings hurt about everything. I mean, now, is this all going to be regulated and taxed?
I'm not here to answer questions, sir. I'm just strictly here to hear what everyone has to say.
You don't have any answers then?
I don't, because we are just in a listening tour. There's no right or wrong answer.
Because that's where I'm coming from. When Wolf was on television 3 or 4 weeks ago saying we have to be a Me Too state because the states around us were doing this and we can't let the revenue get away. But I'll bet you when it comes time, you're not going to let these people grow their own. You're going to want to regulate it and tax it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, all right. Thanks, sir.
Yes, my name is Landon Law, and I thought I was going to stand up front possibly and talk, because I like talking in front of people. I think if, I'm not pro-marijuana, I'm not anti-marijuana. I think that if they legalize it, I think I ought to be allowed to grow it on my farm. And sell it legally. Frankly, I think they ought to do away with Narcan. I don't like Narcan. I mean, I never had it used on me, but I don't think there's a purpose for it, because if people go that far, I think they obviously want the inevitable. That's all I can say about that.
So just one last question to confirm, sir, you're in the middle. You don't have it?
I'm in the middle.
In the middle.
Whatever. I feel that the legislation is going to do whatever they want to do for the majority of the people, but I hope it's the right decision, because our president now gets enough flack for everything he does, and, you know, I want to see the flack. That's all I want to say.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Ma'am, you have the floor.
My name is Joan Lowen. I haven't made a decision one way or another, but I have a question about a couple of statements that were made early in the comments. Somebody stated that nobody who uses marijuana is going to go out and for example, get in a car and drive. They're just going to veg out at home and watch TV. Is it really true that there haven't been any examples of people smoking and then going out and driving impaired? Is that true that there are no examples? No, I'm asking seriously. I mean,
No, I understand. So I thought I heard you earlier. You don't have an opinion either way, ma'am? Oh, okay. That's okay.
But you know, I believe that there probably are times when people who use marijuana get in their cars to go out and get something to eat and drive impaired, just like people who use alcohol do.
Okay, thank you, man. Okay. Sir, you have the floor.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, I've smoked for 22 years, and I use it for medical reasons. I checked a doctor, and in State College, it is $50 a week and $100 for the consultation. That's $300 every month, and I get $700 on my disability. And I'm disabled for my back and for mental issues. And I use marijuana to help with the pain in my back and for my mental issues. I hope it goes through because, like I said, I mean, I can't afford it. The medical is too expensive. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir.
Thank you for coming. My name is Stephen Marks. I am a medical marijuana patient. I'm also a recovering heroin addict. October 9th will be 11 years clean for me. Some of that help came from some people that are in this room. But there's methadone, Suboxone, that's what opioid addicts get put on. And it's expensive. You know, most insurance don't cover it. I was on 3 Subutex tablets a day. I started the medical marijuana in September, and I'm now down to 1.5 tablets a day with no side effects whatsoever. I'm just here to say I'm all for it, and it does work. Just give it a chance, people. We were playing like it was awful, and I'm ashamed to say that I was a part of it. And I've been through the programs in prison, and it's a joke. It really is. But this does work. Just we got to give it a chance as a society. We really do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Gavin, and I am against the legalization of marijuana, and I'm going to be speaking from a school's perspective. So, say if marijuana is legalized, it becomes a normal household object, and some teenagers get a hold of it. They're at school, they're in the bathrooms, they're smoking marijuana, and then they go to their classroom, and they have the smell of it. Kids around them get contact high, and they have trouble focusing the whole class. And they just, they're not learning, and the day's backed up. Sorry, I'm very nervous.
That's okay. You're the youngest one we've ever had testify before, isn't it?
And school systems are supposed to offer a safe learning environment, and I really don't find that safe if kids have the smell of marijuana on them, other kids around them are getting contact high, and it just becomes a normal object like with the juuling epidemic, kids were in the bathrooms, they were juuling, and nobody prevented them from doing it because nobody was checking book bags. They could easily be sneaked in. They were very small. That's the same exact thing with a joint of marijuana. Somebody could just put it in their book bag, and it's very easy to take out. It's very easy to hide, and I highly doubt that a teacher will be able to see through a book bag and spot that some teenager has marijuana with them. And I'm done. Thank you very much.
I've had a lot of friends who, I'm actually for the sport of legalizing recreational marijuana. I've had a lot of friends who've done a lot of other different kinds of drugs, a lot worse than marijuana. There's a lot of heroin, meth, a lot of them bust around here constantly. We've just had shootings, just recently. Our town is getting worse and worse and worse. And I can definitely see that marijuana could help a lot of different people around here. I have friends who have had cancer recently, who've been fighting it for the past couple of years, and their doctors were like, we don't know what to do, we don't know how to help you. Their doctors literally told them, even though they couldn't get a marijuana card because of certain things you have to do to get it, and then the cost that it takes to get a medical marijuana card, some people can't afford that. A lot of people have trouble paying their rent around here. How can you afford to get a marijuana card? It should be recreationally legal. It's a plant. It is not a chemical. People get pharmaceuticals all the time. Doctors push you guys to take pills every day that are harmful for your body. Have you guys ever looked at the pill things on your pills that you guys take every single day? Because they are seriously dangerous. According to marijuana, that is not dangerous. If you made it recreationally legal, or they could sell it in the store, that means it is grown properly in a field where someone knows it's not laced with something. People who are doing it, now they have, like I said, we heard someone else say that it's sketchy. You have to go to a drug dealer, you have to buy it. If it's, it could be laced with something that is more dangerous for other people to use. So why not make it recreationally legal where people can actually buy it and it's in a safe environment for people to partake in it? I do believe it should be used, to be able to be grown for your own personal use. I'm definitely for it, and I'm really grateful you guys came to give everyone a chance to speak their mind.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Travis Mustard. I lived here my whole life. I'm 35. So I've been here through around the second, third heroin epidemic that's ever been here, and I've had friends die from heroin. And everybody is bringing up valid issues here tonight, and I wanted to touch on all of them. I know that's not possible, but the first man brought up Schedule 1 issue. That's a code and a pro and a con, because it's Schedule 1 that's led us to not ever study it. It's been put there in a box, okay? We've been given these other drugs like heroin and cocaine to use as painkillers and to study, but weed's been taken out of that. Now, the kid who just talked about the school issues, I totally understand that, but I can tell you from going from school, kids, you're going to run into it anyway, buddy. People are going to have it on them, they're going to smoke it around you, and you're going to have to decide not to. Legalization brings the opportunity for people not to hide in the shadow, though. A lot of kids that I grew up with did heroin because it is water soluble or not fat soluble, so you can pass a piss test within 3 days of doing heroin, between 2 weeks of piss test a month. You smoke weed 2 weeks in a row, you'll fail piss test within a month and get the same penalties as if you were doing heroin. So it led kids just to do the safer alternative because it was safer because they didn't get in trouble. And it did put hand in hand heroin and pot dealers, because a pot dealer had to go do his thing to make money, and there's this new drug that makes unimaginable money. And now we have the rise of fentanyl and Subutex, which, if nobody can see that, it's a supply and demand issue that we're dealing with. And heroin is a problem that we're giving Subutex a solution for. And we're getting pot muddled in all of that. I just hope people can understand what drugs are and what they can be used for. I'm not saying that cannabis is not psychoactive and that if somebody has mental issues, they might not they might freak out, like the Colorado. I like to call that the big freak out, because no one's going in there dying. They're going in there scared and sick because they're tripping like they were on LSD, and they've never taken anything like that before. And they're not taught that in large amounts cannabis will cause these psychoactive things. They're taught that it's giggly and you'll veg out and not want to do, I think, all these things. But the education is what I'm all about. And the legalization and bringing it down from a Schedule 1 is the first way to do that.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Tiffany. I'm all for it. Would you guys rather see needles laying around the streets every day for your children to be able to pick up? I think if it's legalized, it'll take down people wanting to do heroin, people wanting to do coke and crack and meth. I'm just sick and tired of walking around the street and seeing needles laying around. I'd rather see wrapping papers laying around than all the needles that I see. My husband uses it medically, and when I first got with him, all I wanted to do was drink. I didn't want to smoke. But after being with him for 11 years, I'd rather him smoke than drink. I'd rather him smoke than turn to another drug. I mean, I don't think he never would, but I'd rather see him smoke than anything else. I just don't see what the big deal is. Everybody wanting to be against it. It's helpful to plan. Like Sarah, she said, to plan. It was put here for us to use. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to say there's two sides of everything, I guess. Moderation is something. I'm to the age where I was born with a chemical imbalance, and I was born before antidepressants were available. And I've suffered with depression so bad in my life. And before antidepressants come out, marijuana was the only thing that would help me get away from my depression. It would just knock it away. Now, sometimes it didn't last that long, it would come back, but I was able to get that relief. Alcohol kills people every day, every single day. There is no comparison between an alcohol high and I mean, alcohol can just put you down. You'll throw up. It's terrible, terrible. You can't get that way in pot. But, you know, you can abuse things, too, and I do know that. And I don't really want to see a bunch of kids in school. You know, it has to be regulated. But there's good and bad. But put anybody in jail for smoking marijuana is the biggest travesty in the world. It should never happen. Never, never happen. I don't know if anybody here has ever watched the CNN Sanjay Gupta specials about marijuana. It's amazing. Now, they're talking medical, but the things that, there's 5 of them, 5 series. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, watch this. You would be amazed. But anyways, alcohol is just so much more dangerous. And drinking and driving is so much more dangerous. And there's no comparison. And that's what I like to say.
Thank you. All right, sir.
Thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Steve. I'm 62 years old. I've been smoking pot ever since I was 15. I've run chainsaws, I drove truck, I drive cars, I dig holes. There's I don't get depressed or anything like that. I have 2 rods, 6 screws in my back. I'm in chronic pain all the time. Went to a pain clinic, they give me 4 pills a day. That don't hardly cut it. So I smoke weed in between. Got too hot, they booted me off. So, what's a fellow going to do? I'm all for the medical marijuana. I heard a lady over here saying, you have to go through all these clinics and get the cards and all that. I can't afford stuff like that. I buy the card and go and buy the pot? I $600 bucks. I can go get an ounce of weed off the street cheaper than that, just as good. And I don't drink alcohol either. That's just stupid. Been there, done that too. Went up a highway one time wrong way. Because I was so drunk I couldn't see. I just smoked all the time while here. I had nobody in it. He said, I'm all for it.
All right, thank you. Sir, did you get in line are you in line to speak? Okay, all right, you're up.
Thank you. My name is Stuart Hess, a local resident, lived here since 1967. Thank you for taking time to come to our town this evening. I don't really have a problem with medicinal use of marijuana. I would not like it to be passed to be legalized for general consumption use. I think it's really just an issue of an easy source of revenue for the state, rather than maybe putting some money into the budget and looking at it and say, where can we get money elsewhere in our Portfield budget? So I don't think it's a good source of revenue, and I really don't think it should be legalized.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any prepared remarks, but I wanted to speak on some of the things people are saying as far as us about to make marijuana available. It's been widely available to anyone who wants it since before 1969. And I am one of those old people. I have thousands of friends who have used recreational pot over the years. None of them it has not become a gateway drug for them to be doing heroin or coke or anything. What is a gateway drug is alcohol. I'm a retired high school teacher and a Commonwealth accountant, and the people I know are a wide spectrum. I mean, I know people that use recreational marijuana that are police officers, teachers, accountants, attorneys, doctors. It goes across the spectrum of my friends, and none of them has turned to hard drugs. But when I've talked to people, including my own nieces that are heroin addicts, they told me that they were at a party drinking and someone offered it to them, and they never would have tried it if they had been sober. I haven't heard that problem with anyone that's doing recreational pot. And the other thing is I'd like to see it legalized, because right now the people making money are growers in other countries like Mexico and a lot of other countries. It could be our farmers here in Pennsylvania making money growing it. People manufacturing the products for sale, including bakeries and factories and that kind of thing, putting people to work, and it would be a great tax base. I'd rather see it regulated so that there would be a product that you know what you're getting when you buy it. It's not cut with something like rat poison and things they used to cut it with. Now the crooks that sell it and make the money right now. So I'd much rather see it legalized for that reason.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being here. I'm neither for or against it, because if they legalize it, my life's not going to change. And if you leave it as it is, my life's not going to change. So I'm for or against it, either way. I've done enough reading to see that it appears that the reason that we want to do this is to generate revenue. And I don't have an issue with that either, as long as people in Harrisburg understand that we would like to see some of that revenue make it back to the local municipality. And I realize, sir, that we had nothing to do with this, but we were sold a bill of goods on casinos that we would see property tax relief if we legalized gambling, and I haven't seen any property tax relief because of the casinos. We added, you know, the previous administration, we had a gas tax, an additional gas tax put on to fix highways. I haven't seen any major improvement on the highways around here except what was already funded with the missing link to State College. And now I read that the Turnpike Commission is broke, and last week a group of engineers met with PennDOT and advised PennDOT that they don't have enough money going forward, and things are worse at PennDOT now than they ever were. So my only comment is, if we're going to be sold a bill of goods, that it's being done to generate revenue, I want to see the revenue come back to the local municipalities where it can be best used, and if it's being sold on the idea that we're going to see property tax relief, I'd like to see the property tax relief. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Venus. I've been a resident of Mifflin County all of my life. I was actually probation officer for many years, and I currently teach criminal justice. I hear people talking about revenue and all that. Well, I think you need to look at another side too, in savings. I've worked in the criminal justice system. I know how much money we are spending. 2016 statistics, 23,844 marijuana-related arrests in the state alone. We spend $1,000 to prosecute and supervise each one of those individuals. That's almost $2 million. And I'm not a mathematician, but that's a lot of money. So taking revenue out of it, how much more could we save if we didn't put these people into jail, introduce them to harder crimes, to harsher crimes that they could be committing? Legal or not legal, like the gentleman said, my life's not going to change. Okay, I don't use it, not going to use it, it's not for me. But I think that we have to look at saving money. That money could be spent on education, it could be spent on counseling, it could be spent on social services, early education, and roads, whatever else you want to spend it on. So I thank you for coming here today and talking to us and listening to us.
Thank you for coming. My name is Frank Parker. I've been a resident in this county since 1984. I'm an opiate addict survivor. On my way here, like, I can count how many drug houses is in this vicinity, how many people died in this area, like, and they keep pushing the same programs, the same rehabs. And it's like, why not try something new? Like, why not try it? I mean, I'm a medical marijuana patient. I got certified in August. My last methadone dose was November 14th. No symptoms. I worked through withdrawal, and I'm still clean today because of it.
Thank you for being here. My name is Mr. Mackin. I've been listening to everyone. I'm probably the only health professional or pharmacist licensed in Pennsylvania. I have taken programs on education for marijuana. I want to just kind of touch base on a few things I've heard. One, the issue with the controlled substance classification. The big problem people don't recognize right now is, as a health professional, anybody who comes into the hospital or any other area who uses medical marijuana, all of our licenses do not allow us to even handle the substance. We are class 2 to 5. Unless you're a research place in the country, which there are very few in our country, you can't even handle marijuana. So in order to get rid of the schizophrenic situation we have created, unfortunately, due to medical marijuana being legal, having legalized recreational marijuana in the country, we need to realize a couple of things. Pennsylvania needs to push for the initiative to have Congress declassify marijuana, or at least make it from the class 1 to the class 3, which is in line with the other synthetics. We already have synthetics that are prescription, they're a class 3, they're not a class 1. So that's a complete farce. This is something that's been going on for generations. I don't think anybody in this room probably can say they don't know somebody who's had and smokes marijuana, regardless of what profession they're in or whatever it is. So this is a long, ongoing issue. It's used medicinally, it's used religiously, it's used in a number of issues. We touch base across the entire spectrum of our community in the country. It comes down to this. And people have talked about alcohol, and they've mentioned the Bible. Well, the Bible tells you you can drink also.
I'm not going to touch base on that at all. But the real issue comes down to that when we get down to looking at how we're going to try to regulate this, currently we've got a medical marijuana that's been legalized in Pennsylvania. Suggestions could be to have those for recreational marijuana done the same way as other models have done in other states. They go in through the same place, they can come in, they have medical marijuana cafes, people go and do this. As far as addressing people who say we can't or cannot control people because they're driving, in other states there are ways you still draw blood. 5 nanograms in Colorado is what's used legally, and you will get prosecuted. If you drink, if you smoke and you have children in your car and you have an accident, you can get prosecuted. People need to know these things. So we can't just bury our heads and pretend that because it goes recreationally, those things don't become true issues we need to address. So some of the questions and things that I think we need to talk about is, would Pennsylvania actually adopt Colorado and other legalized states regulations that would regulate the way people would handle recreational marijuana if they're not going to a medical dispensary? In addition to that, would we be able to have independence? The gentleman here, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, it's expensive when you go to medical marijuana dispensaries. If you grow your own because you cannot afford it, then people can do that. I do appreciate maybe we bring the price down, and that's a whole other issue about price issues when you go even for medication. Some of the other issues about taxation, I'm sorry, I don't want to take too long, is the money that we can use could be used for infrastructure and for roads. We can use it also to use for research in the study of cannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system. This is what we need to do. It's just, we're constantly being allowed to do the research. All these years of ridiculous statutes that have been put on us, where this stuff is so illegal we couldn't study it, we're now beginning to do it. So as with other herbals, people were using things, and you know, from a testimonial type thing, you say, you know, works for me, that's great, because there are things that's placebo, they do work. But we need to do studies to see what really works. We're using them now with children. We're allowed to do that. The other issue that I have a problem with is, you know, we came out with some of the products that are now, they don't even get you legally high at all, and we made them a controlled substance. We tie our own hands instead of allowing science and the people who are involved with it to do the research we need to.
Oh, okay, sir, we unfortunately have to move on.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just have to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fetterman, for being here. I actually met you last year at the PA Cannabis Festival. My name is Ron Boyle. Some of you might have heard of me. I have Greenbridge Society. I'm 100% focused on patient care with cannabis. Like everybody that's kind of passionate about it. I have my own story where I, spent my entire life as unhealthy and lots of disease, and I use cannabis to help me. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into that. That's not what I'm here for. On the subject of legalization, cannabis is a funny plant. It doesn't really care why you're using it. It's still going to give you benefits. Getting high is just, that's a side effect like any other drug you can take or alcohol. We did right with the medicinal part of cannabis, but one big part that we're missing is, preventative medicine. This stuff can really help a long way before people get cancer, before people develop disease. 100 years ago, this was in our diets. We had this in our bodies. The science about it is true, regarding the endocannabinoid system and how homeostasis works in the body. Not having that for 100 years has really messed us up. Legalization provides the ability for people who want to self-medicate to prevent disease. And regarding prices, yeah, that is an issue. I'm in pharmacy or in dispensaries all the time, and I deal with thousands of patients that have the same concerns. I can't grow pot. I'm a farmer, and I couldn't grow it if my life depended on it. So I want to go to a dispensary and buy it. I know it's lab tested. I know what I'm getting. But legalization, the majority of the country wants it, and it's a plant. as far as regulating and taxation and all that, I honestly find it all kind of silly because there's not one shred of evidence to put this plant where it's been the last 85 years. And it's a travesty to humanity. It has nothing to do about getting high. It has more to do with helping your body to be what it wants to be healthy. You can look me up on Facebook and read my story. It's medically documented by my doctor, so I just encourage you to research further than the aspect of getting high. Thank you.
My name's Jim. Glad to have you here tonight. I figured you'd be just in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Scranton, those places.
Nope, all 67, sir.
But I think one of the things that concerns me a lot is about kids, and if you go and read about out in Colorado, where kids have gotten candy that was laced, brownies that were laced with marijuana, and some of them came pretty close to dying. So things do have to be regulated. And like the gentleman who was ahead of me here, I think you do have to do something so that the people that's going to be on medical marijuana needs to be able to be taken care of by the doctors here. And until you want to start doing that, I think you better wait before you decide on this. Because if you don't, you're going to have a big can of worms, more than what you probably would want. Also, there's been a lot of people out in Colorado that have been hit as pedestrians because of people on marijuana that have been impaired. And we really don't need that around here either. Thank you.
Sir, are you against recreational use?
Recreational, yes. Medical, no, because I know that it can help.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right.
Hi, my name is Anthony Spano. Just wanted to start off, thank you for being here. It's a small county. Again, like the gentleman said.
They're all equally important to all 67.
Just wanted to note quickly the fiscal side of the current bill, HB 50. It's great to think of things in black and white terms of it'd be great to get recreational marijuana passed. I believe it should be passed. I believe the benefits far outweigh the negatives. But it comes with a lot of other things. The main driver for this is revenue. In PA, we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. That's pretty clear. Current fiscal year, we're going to run a budget deficit of $1.7 billion. This is estimated to raise between $500 and $600 million. I just think that with the current bill HB 50, it's currently listed a laundry list of certain special interest groups to get that $500 to $600 million. I think for the sake of future generations of Pennsylvanians, we'd be better off and be more fiscally responsible to use the revenue from marijuana to reduce our budget deficit and the debt we'd be passing on to our kids instead of giving it to certain special interest groups. And I know the bill isn't concluded yet and still needs to be rounded out and passed, but I think it's important we all keep our eyes to where the money is going. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Harry Geeby, and I'm for or pro. We lost the war on drugs. I mean, that's all there is to it. Partly because of the demand for illicit drugs in the United States, but also partly because our drug companies had doctors overprescribe opiates, and those people that got the opiates and got hooked on the opiates are now hooked on heroin. So, if you add everything together, we're wasting millions of dollars prosecuting, arresting, punishing people for smoking marijuana or selling marijuana. If you add together with that the fact that legalization would decrease the source of human suffering in Mexico and Central America, where these things are now grown and largely by gangs, and it would also, create thousands of jobs in Pennsylvania in growing, and distributing, and producing marijuana. If that would be enough in itself, but not only that, but from what I've read recently, those places that have legalized marijuana, the use of opiates has actually decreased, and marijuana can be used to treat so, I would say let's legalize it, let's control it, let's make sure we control it tightly, let's tax the heck out of it, and let's use use that money for social services, education, drug addiction counseling, and all those good things that we can do with that money.
Hi, my name's Gage French. I'm 27 years old, and I just wanted to say that, excuse me, I read an article a couple years ago about a steel factory in Youngstown, Ohio. They started out at $15 an hour to $25 an hour, and no high school diploma required. More than half of their applicants did not get the job because they could not pass the drug test. I've been working since I was 19 years old. I get up, I go to work every day. I work hard. When I get home, I like to smoke. Some people like to go home and have a beer. I want to know why I should be demonized because I have a different preference. I decide to go home and I put something in my body that's going to stay there for 30 days, whereas, you know, so take heroin, for example, that can be out of your system in a matter of days, less than a week. So, I don't understand why we need to keep including THC on the drug panel. That's it.
Thank you. My name is Walter Sesersky. I've been a resident of Mifflin County for 76 years. Just to tell you that.
Sir, could you speak closer to the microphone?
Okay. Walter Sesersky, if you didn't hear that. 76 years in Mifflin County. I spoke to my representative this morning out in Harrisburg who is opposed to this recreational marijuana. And I must say that this is not about medical marijuana. Whatever your opinion on that may be, it's not medical marijuana. This is recreational marijuana is what is being talked about here. I believe the only reason that Harrisburg is presenting this issue is because of money. You want tax revenue. Harrisburg does not have a problem with revenue. You have a problem with spending. You're spending your money wrong that we're giving you. So you get that in line with what revenue you have. The first gentleman who spoke about an article. I have that article. It's a 13-page. It was a report. It was a speech given by a very intellectual individual. And one of the things I have down here, I'd like to read to you. In a 2017 speech calling for federal legalization, United States Senator Cory Booker stated that states that have legalized marijuana are seeing a decrease in violent crimes. He was wrong. The first 4 states to legalize marijuana for recreational use were Colorado and Washington in 2004, and Alaska and Oregon in 2015. Combined, those 4 states had about 450 murders and 30,300 aggravated assaults in 2013. Now the result. Last year, they had almost 620 murders and 38,000 aggravated assaults, an increase of 37% of murders and 25% for aggravated assaults, far greater than the national increase, even after accounting for differences in population growth. Knowing exactly how much of the increase is related to cannabis is impossible without researching every crime. You have to agree with that. But police reports, news stories, and arrest warrants suggest a close link in many cases. For example, last September, police in Longmore, Colorado, arrested Daniel Lopez for stabbing his brother Thomas to death as a neighbor watched. Daniel Lopez had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and was self-medicating with marijuana, according to an arrest warrant. I know that. I know this is only one case. You need to read this report. And anyone with any common sense after reading this report how you can possibly be in agreement with recreational marijuana is beyond me. I am strongly.
Thank you.
So, I could care less whether it's legalized or not. I just want to know how my school is affected, like teachers, and if it's still going to fall under like the tobacco policy. That's, yeah.
So are you for or against?
I don't care whether
You don't
it is.
Okay.
Just like I said, I want to know if my school's, whether or not it's going to affect my teachers and how my learning is going to be.
I'll say they're paid enough.
Okay.
I don't need more anymore.
Thank you.
I'm Allison Fisher. I am the Human Services Director for the county. And I could stand here and give you statistics, and I could share anecdotal stories with you about how this affects the families that I work with every single day. But I've also worked with the county for nearly 20 years. And so my experience is that the state is going to do what the state wants to do, and we're going to pay for it here at the county. And so I'm not sure how many folks in this room realize that the only way the county has to pay for all the things the state tells us we have to do, and we have no choice in that matter, is your county property taxes. That's it, folks. That's how we pay for these services. So what I would like to know, by a show of hands, is how many people in this room are actually homeowners who pay county taxes? Okay, sir, at the end, when you take your vote, those are the only people who have a right to vote, because those are the people who are going to pay the tax.
My name is Brian Colby. I've lived in this county all my life. Thank you for being here. I totally agree with the recreational bill. The only part that I disagree with is the home cultivation. I believe you should leave that up to us patients. Go back, revamp the medical bill first, then come back. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rick Cook. I've been here for almost 71 years, and I'm a retired teacher. I'm an ex-veteran during the Vietnam era. I worked at Huntington Prison. I have a program, it's called Rick Storytellers. It's a drug and alcohol program that I present in schools. And if you read the article in the Lewistown paper, you need to read that if you haven't. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but it's a very good article. But in my Rick Storytellers, I tell stories. And what do you think I tell stories about? Drugs and alcohol. 1966, I'm a student at Lewistown High School, getting ready to graduate. 3 of my friends and a new girl from New York City are skipping school the last period of the day. I said, where are you guys going? We're going out back to smoke pot. I go, what are you smoking a pot for? And they said, no, we're smoking weed. I said, what are you smoking weeds for? And then they said, no, it's marijuana. And I said, what the heck's marijuana? Well, the girl from New York City brought it. The 3 boys that was with them, Bobby, Ronnie, and Chuck, no longer with us. They went on to better things. All the rest of the good drugs that can kill you, well, they're all dead today. One died about age 30, one about age 40, one was late 40s, it looked like he was 100. No teeth, everything was pretty bad. In my years of teaching, I have numerous and numerous stories. One boy, they were out smoking pot one night and shooting deer. .357 Magnum. He went to put the gun back underneath the seat, shot himself in the crotch, bled to death before he got to the hospital. Another boy came home from school one day. His brother was burning his pot in the front lawn. He was growing in the cornfield. The boy went in and got the shotgun, came out and shot his brother. So when you say death doesn't occur from marijuana, the heck it doesn't, okay? When I worked at Huntington Prison, 50 inmates on death row. They didn't get there just for the heck of it. I asked them, how did you guys get here in the first place? Started smoking pot back in the 50s and 60s, led to other crimes. My last year of teaching, 2 2 carloads of kids were going to a party. 5 of them, well, 4 of them didn't make it back. 1 got his head cut off. The other 3 got killed. Well, the other guy got killed too. The one that survived, he's a vegetable today. I can go on and tell you stories and stories and stories. And I do feel for people that have physical problems. In the service, I blew my back out carrying a guy. For 50 years now, I've had back problems. Once in a while, it comes back. Yeah, the last time it came back, I did take some opiates prescribed to me. I no longer take them because I deal with the pain every day. So I know the feeling of pain that some of you go through. But I just hope, you know, if you could grow pot in your backyard and smoke it in your house and never leave your house, I can live with that. But if you come out in the drive and you run across my kids, my grandkids, and you kill one, I hope you're dead too, because you will not need an attorney and you will not need a doctor. I will probably need an attorney. Thank you.
My only question, nicotine is a drug, is classified as a drug, but it's perfectly legal. Marijuana sometimes helps you with the same thing, but makes you feel a little better, okay? Why should marijuana be illegal and nicotine be perfectly legal? Makes no sense.
I'm Brandon. I moved this town years ago, and it was like lots of trouble. Like I've been in plenty of trouble through my like depression, bipolar, and stuff like that. Every single incident that occurred was under the influence of alcohol. Never under the influence of marijuana. There's never been any trouble, any instances where it's made me get out of control. But with alcohol, I take one drop, one drink, and it puts me into a complete, like, place where I can't control myself. It's never been like that with marijuana. It's only one person. Like, everybody's different. But my point is, like, alcohol is legal, and with all my diagnosis of like mental health history and stuff like that, and all the trouble that I've been in, it's all been linked to alcohol. I've never been arrested sober. Never been arrested under the influence of marijuana. Only every single time that I've been put in handcuffs because I had a drink that led to another. Just saying, if you're going not decriminalize marijuana, like, might as well make alcohol illegal too. That's it, that's all I have.
My name is Liz. I moved to Mifflin County 4 years ago from Colorado. So I witnessed them go through medical and then turn into recreational. And I was just back there last month, and I see how nice the schools are. And I see how every community has a skate park and has the kids outside and has committed this money back to the community. And I see the potential for that here. I moved here to open a small business, and I know that this is about money and medicine, but the benefits for this compared to opiates and the current pharmaceutical system and just the fact that we don't have control of our own health system, our own bodies, our own medicine. Having the recreational is just adding tax dollars for the community, and it's all about being a responsible adult. So if we commit to be responsible adults, it shouldn't be in the hands of children. So no offense, it was in school when I was in school, and it wasn't legal then. So, yeah.
Good evening. My name is John, and I will just relate a story which I believe is true to you. And I am, to be clear, against the legalization of marijuana for recreational purposes. I think it was in the spring of 2018 A man and a girl spent the night enjoying alcohol and drugs at a viewpoint on top of Jack's Mountain. This is west of Lewistown, and I have the directions here for you. In the early morning, they left the parking site going down the mountain towards Belleville. The truck overturned and she was thrown out of the truck and killed. He was not. The family maintains a memorial to her to this day on a curve where the truck overturned. I'm willing to take you there, not at taxpayer expense, and return you to where I picked you up at any time convenient to you. Do we really need more or easier access to recreational drugs of any sort in Pennsylvania? I don't think so. And if you wish to contact State Rep John Hershey's local office, they can give you all the newspaper articles pertaining to it. And their phone number is on in here as well, if you want it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is David Edmond. One thing I wanted to talk about, the young child who was talked of contact highs. I am a Department of Transportation regulated employee, meaning that I'm subject to constant drug and alcohol screenings whenever. And I can tell you from plenty of my research, you can basically be in a car as you're talking, clam baking it up with the kids, and 6 hours later you're clean. So there's not much of a threat with secondhand marijuana smoke. The other thing I was thinking is more of an anecdotal thing. I'm 39 years old, almost 40. I grew up in this town. Lost a friend to heroin use. I've watched another one of my great friends, 2 bad knees, Crohn's disease, fall into rampant opiate addiction caused by prescription drugs, oxycontins. Pulled the rug out from him. What ends up happening to him? He needs the oxys. What's he going to do? Can't smoke marijuana, right? It's illegal. What else is he going to do? So, I mean, that's more of a medical thing. That's kind of been addressed, fortunately. But I say smoke it if you got it.
Good evening. I'm Chris Shade. I used to be the sheriff here in the county, and 22 years in this county, working for county government, started in the jail and watched the number of, right at the beginning, the onset of this heroin epidemic that hit this county like a whirlwind, and watched the number of lives that were either destroyed or lost due to these hard drugs. Now, looking at countries and or cities around the world that before the United States ever started talking about legalizing marijuana for medical and or recreational reasons, Spain comes to mind, Amsterdam, those countries that have either decriminalized or legalized marijuana saw a marked decrease in the use of hard drugs, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, drugs that destroy families, drugs that destroy lives. And if that's what it takes to get these people off these hard drugs, then I'm all for legalization of marijuana.
Guided before the wire.
I'm all for the legalization of it just simply because I have spent 40 to 50 years of my life with friends, children, husbands, brothers that have all done marijuana and alcohol. I know there's no comparison, shouldn't be a comparison between the alcohol and the marijuana, but I've seen it. I've seen my son being an alcoholic. I actually called the police on my son. I actually institutionalized my son for alcohol. He's alcohol-free now. I've seen my friends go from alcohol to opiates. I've never seen any of them go from marijuana as a gateway drug to heroin or anything like that. Any of my group of friends or family that I have, I've never seen it as a gateway drug. So, I mean, like I said, just as a parent watching it, if they drank a six-pack of beer, they're not getting in my car. But if I see them smoking a little bit, they're fine, and you know, you do what you need to do. But I've seen just in my group a big difference between alcohol and marijuana. So I know it shouldn't be compared, but as to me, one to the other, the alcohol is your worst enemy as far as those two drugs. But like I said, I've seen for 40 years, and I've never seen anyone turn to anything any harder or have any issues, get arrested for anything serious or anything because they were smoking marijuana.
Okay, thank you. Last two speakers.
Hi, Paul Bright from Reedsville. I guess I'm on the border. I like medical marijuana. I'm not sure on the recreational. I'm only here to have, actually it's a question for you and the politicians. I have two family members that are police officers. I heard a lady here get up and say something about this. My two family members, day in and day out, deal with DUI under the influence of alcohol with pot also. This is a thing that I want to know, because I've also almost lost a family member to DUI. Now, if we legalize pot, is the guy going to smoke a joint and drink a beer and then go drive? What I want to know is the politicians going to deal with this situation, because DUIs are terrible. Now, if we legalize pot, is this going to make it any worse? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Maven. I've been a resident all my life pretty much in Lewistown. I've been a pothead since I've been 14. I was introduced in school in '75. On and off a pothead. I'm not right now. But it helps people that have problems. I mean, the government had a patent in 1974 that high-strength cannabis oil ingested kills cancer cells. Google it, everyone. You'll be amazed what the information. But I'm 100% for pot. I mean, it helps people. I mean, people are going to smoke pot whether it's legal or not. Judges, lawyers, everyone. I mean, some people don't. Some people can function when they're high. I mean, I can't drink. I can smoke pot and I'm fine. You know, so I mean.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mifflin County. An entirely civil conversation, and I want to thank you for giving up part of your evening to come out and participate. So I have 3 questions left. So all those in favor of adult recreational cannabis, all those in favor, raise your hand. Aye. Aye. Keep your hands raised so we may document that. All those in favor, ayes. The ayes. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. All those opposed to adult use marijuana in Pennsylvania, recreational. Opposed, noes. Please keep your hands up so we may document that. High up, please, so we may document that. Okay, thank you. And finally, Mifflin seems to have more than other counties, but who's middle of the road? Who's unsure? Let's see the unsured. Please keep your hands up high so we can document that. Unsure, undecided. Okay? All right. Remember, please put your comment card in the box in there, and please consider weighing in online on the website too. Every opinion is analyzed and recorded. Thank you again. Good night.